Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by Cachefly. CACHEFLY.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast for the weekend of Saturday and Sunday, September 25th and 26th, 2010. What you're about to see is the best parts, not the extra, just the best parts of episode 703, 704. Thanks for watching. Enjoy! Well, hello to you. How are you? Good to see you. Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. And it's time to talk about technology. To discuss, to converse, to convene in discussion around the stuff that's changing this world of ours. The stuff with chips in it. The things like the Kindle and the iPod, the iPhone and the Android phones, the BlackBerry, the laptop, the desktop, Windows, Mac, and Linux, all of that stuff. Digital photography, home theater, big screen TVs. 8888 Ask Leo is my phone number. That's 1-888-827-5536. Don't be shy. I will not bite you. I will not mock you. I think sometimes, in fact, I know a lot of times we'll get callers saying, you know, I'm not a geek. I'm not a geek. I don't know. I'm not an expert on this stuff. I don't know all this stuff. Please, I hope you don't think you have to be a dyed-in-the-wool geek to listen to this show. In fact, I would say this show is a communication from the land of the geeks to the real world. A hello from those of us who wear big, thick glasses to those of you in the real world saying, welcome, welcome to technology. Here's how it works. Here's what it does. Here are our secrets. We are not holding on to them. We will let you know what's going on. We will not speak in jargon. We really want you to participate with us. I know most geeks aren't that way, or many geeks aren't that way. I would say most geeks are that way. Most of us want you to know this stuff, but there are some, I admit, who get a kick out of being the ones who know, and having you have to come to them and beg them for help. There are those, but that's not this show. On this show, my goal is not to turn you into a geek, but to give you all the capabilities a geek would have, to be able to understand how your phone works and use it to the fullest, to be able to use a computer to get music and watch videos, and to replace your cable company with your own, your cable bill with your own internet access, that kind of thing. The kinds of things geeks do routinely. So if you want to know more about this, if you'd like to know, 8888 Ask Leo is the number. 1-888-827-5536. That's toll-free from anywhere in the U.S. You can also, outside the U.S., you can reach me by Skyping that number. If you have Skype out, it's free to call a toll-free number in the U.S. So you can Skype out to +1 888-827-5536, and we'll get you on to talk about tech. Let me see. I'll have to take a look at some of the stories. Well, the big story, I guess, one of the big stories that broke last week, and now I'm very confused, is this idea of Facebook doing a phone. I poo-pooed it. I said, oh, that's a bogus. There's no way Facebook. Why would Facebook want to get in the telephone business? Of course, I remember saying the same thing about Apple. Why would Apple? But at least Apple makes hardware, right? Facebook's a website. I can't imagine. Why would a website, which has no experience selling a product at all, right? They don't sell Facebook. They sell advertising. Of course, Google has a phone operating system, and I guess they even have a phone that they jointly developed with HTC called the Nexus One. And Google had no experience selling a product. They were just a website. They just sold advertising. So maybe Facebook is going to do this. Now, Bloomberg, which is a fairly credible source, confirms that, yes, Facebook is working with a phone hardware company to make a Facebook phone, 2 smartphone devices. Maybe that's why Facebook was so slow on Thursday. Maybe they were busy working on phones. It's interesting how slavishly tied to Facebook some of us are. I don't know if you're one of those people who just, you spend a lot of time. You log into Facebook every day and update your status and share with your friends. Are you one of those people? I think a lot of you are. Because when Facebook was really spotty on it was Wednesday and Thursday. Boy, did I hear from people. It was like there was like a water shortage or a food shortage. Facebook's down. Facebook said a poorly designed error condition, I think is the term they used, caused our servers to be unreliable, intermittent for several hours, slow and unavailable. But they say it's all fixed now. I think they were working on the phone and they lost track of time and forgot to flip the switch or something. Whatever it is they do. It's amazing. Facebook is so strong on the internet. Such a 500 million users and everything. But why do they need to do a phone is my question. I don't understand it, really. I could see why they would work with companies to make sure there's good Facebook applications on the phone. They're working with Microsoft for the new Windows Phone when it comes out in a couple of months, November or late October, whatever the time frame is. We don't know exactly. I can see that they would be working with Microsoft. In fact, they are, to make sure there's a good Facebook application. I could see how they might be working with Android to make sure there's a good application there. I know they have a very good iPhone app. I can see all that, but really, do they need to make hardware a phone? Apparently, that's the rumor. Talk about big numbers. Facebook moves a lot of data, a lot of users, 500 million users. You know who's moving a lot of data? What's the number one game on Facebook? Farmville, right? Farmville got a little nod on The Office debut this Thursday. Did you see that with the intern? He's messing with the computer. They said, "What are you doing? Get to work." He said, "No, my strawberries need to be harvested." Yeah, he's playing Farmville, right? Zynga, the company that owns Farmville, talk about a massive amount of data. Zynga does 1 petabyte of data daily and is adding around 1,000 new servers a week. They support 3 billion connections between people on games like Farmville, Frontierville, Yoville, Mafia Wars. A petabyte. I bet you a lot of you haven't heard that word petabyte. You know terabyte, megabyte. You know byte. But what's a petabyte? Petabyte is 1,000 terabytes. It's amazing. The size of data. So we started with a byte, which was 8 bits. So the smallest unit a computer can deal with is a bit. I mean, that's a good name for it, isn't it? A bit. It's a 1 or a 0. A bit can be either a 1 or a 0. That's it. So that's 1 bit. If you have 8 of those bits, you have a byte. And with 8 bits, each of which can be 1 or 0, that means you have 2 to the 8th possibilities, or 256 different things that a byte can represent. And then the next one is a kilobyte. Remember that? We talked a lot about kilobytes in the early days of the internet. How fast is your modem? Oh, it's what was it? 14,400 kilobits per second. That's 1,000 bits. A kilobyte is 1,000 bytes. Actually, technically, sometimes this is a confusion because computers are binary. They're not decimal like we are. So to say 1,000 is a decimal number, really you shouldn't represent it that way. A kilobyte is 2 to the 10th bits. A megabyte is 2 to the 20th bits. And now hard drives got bigger. I remember, my first hard drive was 20 megabytes. Wow. Actually, my first was 5 megabytes. And it was thousands of dollars. That was in maybe 78, 77, 78. Very expensive. I didn't buy it. My office, my work, I convinced them to buy it. 5 megabytes. And then I remember I ran a BBS, and I was so excited when we went from 10 megabyte hard drives to 20 megabyte hard drives. Oh, that was a big deal. 20 megabytes. So the world, we talked a lot about megabytes then. Maybe your first computer had a gigabyte or two of storage. Might have had 8 megabytes of RAM and a gigabyte or two hard drive. So we started talking about gigabytes. Nowadays, hard drives are much bigger, aren't they? They're terabytes. A terabyte is 1,000 gigabytes. A gigabyte is 1,000 megabytes. A megabyte is 1,000 kilobytes. A kilobyte is 1,000 bytes. You see how it's going. Well, people talk a lot about terabytes now, but now get ready because we're going to start talking about petabytes. PETA. It's 2 to the 50th bytes. It's the next step up. It's 1,000 terabytes. 1,000 terabytes. Now you got a 2 terabyte hard drive. Imagine 500 of those. And every single day, Zynga pushes that much data over the internet. If you have a fast internet connection, you might have 11 megabits per second, right? I have to do the math to figure out what 11 megabits per second comes out to in petabytes. It would take years and years to push that kind of data. Zynga does it every single day. As long as you're getting ready. Okay, so I would, I don't think we'll see petabyte hard drives, and well, who knows? I shouldn't say that. I never thought we'd see terabyte hard drives, to be honest. In fact, I was kind of surprised when gigabyte hard drives came out. So maybe we will see petabyte. We'll see petabyte storage of some kind. What's next? Exabyte. Just so you know, just prepare this. And probably your children will talk about exabytes, zettabytes, and the big one, the yottabyte. I'm not kidding. 8888 Ask Leo. Let's talk tech. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We're talking in the chat room about these big things, and somebody said, no, there'll never be a petabyte magnetic drive. We'll probably have something like optical or holographic storage or something. I've learned never to say never on the storage capacity of hard drives. I was sure in the year 2000, I probably even said this in public, so I can't deny it. I was sure that by 2010, we wouldn't be using spinning hard drives anymore. I thought, I thought by the year 2000 we'd be using holographic memory or some other form of much more dense storage. But no one knew at the time, no one could imagine at the time that the hard drive industry would do such a good job of increasing the number of bits they could store on a platter. Who would have thought 2 terabyte drives? Unimaginable. Never mind that they're under $200. Unimaginable. 8888 Ask Leo, that's the phone number. Kim is in San Diego, our first call of the day. Hi, Kim. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Leo?
Hey, Kim.
Hey.
Welcome to the show.
I have a simple question for you, I hope.
Good. Give my brain a chance to warm up.
Yeah. I want to purchase just a cell phone for emergencies only, and I wonder what my options are.
Yeah, somebody called about this last week, and basically what you want to get is something that they call on, have you ever seen The Wire on HBO? They call them burner phones. It's what drug users use. They're burner phones, and drugstores sell them, 7-Eleven sells them. They are basically, they're kind of junky phones that come with 100 minutes or something like that. They're built-in minutes. And you can add minutes to the phone, but you don't have to. There's no contract. There's no requirement to sign up for anything. It's just a phone, and so it's a perfect emergency phone.
Okay. Now, it's a burner phone, and I get them at 7-Eleven or where else?
Drugstores sell them, CVS. Gerard's in the studio. He sells cell phones. Am I far off? You've heard of such a thing. I don't know if a cell phone store would per se, because most cell phone stores really make their money selling you not the phone so much as the contract, and that's what you don't want.
Right.
So you're going to go to like Target, you're going to go to Walmart, you're going to go to places that aren't really trying to sell cell contracts.
Okay. Now, when you purchase a phone like this, is it going to say something like, yes, you have 100 minutes, but you better use them in 30 days or something like that?
Yeah, sometimes there's an expiration. It's not 30 days. It's more like a year.
Okay.
But you should absolutely look at that. That is something to consider. Dr. Mom, who lives in Long Island, is saying that her grocery store sells them on the same rack as they sell gift cards. So you just see them hanging there.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, Now, something you should know about calling emergency services from a cell phone is that a cell phone is not like your landline. Your landline has an address attached to it.
Right, and this
doesn't. It uses something called E911. And what you'll get in most cases with a cell phone is a regional 911 service. You know, if you call 911 from your house, you're getting somebody local. You're getting somebody right there, and you say, the house is burning down. The fire department's going to get that message immediately. When you call them on a cell phone and you say, you know, I don't know what, my house is burning down, they're going to say, okay, well, you got regional services, and they're going to say, where are you? The phones, most phones, I don't know about burner phones, most modern smartphones anyway have location capability. I think all phones are supposed to do this E911 law, to have some sort of location capability, but it might not be very precise.
Well, see, I have a landline, and of course, if the place was on fire, I would use my landline, I suppose.
Good.
But
You're thinking if your car breaks down, yeah. So, and that's perfect for that, because you'll say where you are.
Right. Okay.
It's not going to be that. It's not going to be. It's going to be an emergency, but not like a life or death emergency.
Right. Okay, this sounds like perfect for me.
Yeah, I think that's the solution for most people. And in fact, I've got to get my mom to buy one because she bought a Cricket, which is a kind of for older folks. It's got big buttons, but there's a monthly charge on it. And so she keeps disconnecting it. When she's traveling, she calls up, she reconnects it, and it costs money to, like $25 to do it again. And then she gets it for a month while she's traveling. Then she disconnects it, and it's a real pain. In fact, I think she's finally said, "I'm not going to do this anymore." So a burner phone's great for that. And even if you have an old cell phone lying around that's expired, all cell phones are required to give you emergency access. You couldn't call a tow truck, but you do have 911 access on all cell phones as long as they still work.
Well, maybe I'll carry around one of my old, I'll charge it up, carry one of my old ones, and get a burner phone, and maybe between the two, should I ever have an emergency,
yeah,
I can get through.
Right. So the emergency call is available on all phones, even if you don't have a SIM card in it. It should make an emergency card, but for like calling a tow truck, you can't use it for that. So I think it's a good idea to get a burner phone. Got clarity now. All phones are supposedly, even if you haven't paid the bill, even if you've popped the SIM card, should be able to dial 911 in the case of an emergency. So it's not a bad idea if you have an old phone, just keep it around. That's your emergency phone. Keep it in the glove compartment. Keep it charged. Keep it in the glove compartment because that's your emergency phone. But it's only for like really, really serious emergencies. You don't call 911 to get a tow truck. I got a flat tire. You don't call 911. I got a flat tire. That'd be bad. So a burner phone would probably be a good choice. If you don't if you don't want to pay for a contract, and I understand that. I tell you, if you really think about the cost of a cell phone, it's kind of outrageous. $200, say for the iPhone or one of the Android phones, $200 up front. You sign up for a 2-year contract. Most of these contracts, because they're data plans and all the texts and everything, you're talking $80 to $100 a month. So you're talking, around $2,000 plus for that phone. That's a lot. That's like a laptop computer. That's like 2 laptop computers for that phone. They're very, very expensive. But on the other hand, nowadays, can you live without them? Kyle, Bakersfield, California. You're next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hello, Kyle.
I have been a fan of yours since the Call for Help days on ZDTV.
Aren't you kind? That's a long time ago.
It is. On Monday, I am doing a contest, and we normally broadcast our karaoke show live, and this is your fault, from Stickam. I heard about it.
Oh, how fun. What's your Stickam channel?
KaraokeKingShow.com. We've actually had 1.7 million viewers doing it once a week.
Wow.
It's awesome.
Now, do you do it in a bar? Where is the karaoke going on?
It's changed. I mean, we've done it in a bar. That's where we started out. Now we're at a cafe in Bakersfield. But Monday, we did a contest all summer long, and 9 bars are going to all compete on Monday at the fair for best in the West. Male and female vocalists.
This is DJ Kyle, host of the internet's #1 live karaoke show.
That's me.
That's you. How fun. My friend Randall Schwartz, who does our Floss Weekly open source show, is a big karaoke guy. He'll broadcast his his performances on Ustream.
I do both. I do Ustream and I do.
I see that.
Only because Ustream goes direct to YouTube.
Now, how do you do this? Do you do it from a cell phone, or how do you do it?
No. We actually have a full-size laptop. My wife actually is called the Karaoke Queen, and she runs the chat room and records all the videos from both streams and uploads them to YouTube live during the show.
Wow.
It's awesome. It's really it's been a lot of fun. I mean, I think the coolest thing that
I'm watching Irish singing Georgia by Ray Charles on your website. Some of these guys are pretty good, aren't they?
Oh, he is phenomenal. He's actually a homeless guy who came into our club and asked very timidly if he could sing.
Wow.
I said, absolutely, come on up and sing. And then here's this awesome voice that came out.
What a story.
It is. It's really cool. But it's been great. But I remember when you did Dig Nation and you did the crowd surfing.
Yes, who could forget?
I have an AT&T wireless card, and I have friends who have them. And I want to be able to...
I still have the world's record for longest crowd surf streamed live. I don't think it's going to be broken, to be honest with you, because who's going to be nutty enough to... I was wearing a large... I know you know this, a large backpack made by a company called Live U, the letter U, and I had on a monopod, a big stick. I had a camera and a light, and I leapt into the crowd, and they surfed me around on my back. And I don't know how I had the presence of mind, but somehow I did, and I kept the light and the camera pointed right at me for it felt like an hour, but I think it was only a minute or two crowd surf. And I was sure the stream would break up. It didn't.
No, it was awesome, and that's exactly what prompted me to call you. One connection is not enough, but I have friends with AT&T wireless cards, and I want to tie them together.
Yeah, they have a very... I'll tell you the truth. LiveU has a very sophisticated, patented technology for doing that. It's not something you can easily do. There's another company selling a similar box I saw for $17,000. LiveU doesn't even sell theirs. They lease it for thousands of dollars a month.
Wow.
Yeah, unless you're making a lot of money on your karaoke, business.
No money off this, but I've had some really awesome stories. Well, I had somebody come into the club, said, "You don't know me, but I want to say thank you." And we're about, well, you know California. We're probably 250 miles from Camp Pendleton.
Oh, great.
The guy drove up there from Camp Pendleton.
Oh, that's
him and his troops were watching overseas.
Oh,
and he said
great.
it felt a little bit like home. And I was like, wow, you never know who you're touching with these things.
That's one of the amazing things about internet broadcasting. I know we have many listeners in the armed forces stationed all around the world, and it really is moving.
It is.
Yeah.
It's very touching.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do this 2 nights a week. We broadcast, and then we have this special contest on Monday, and it's just, we love it. We love being able to put that information out there, and just, it's really cool. It's a lot of fun.
I'm afraid I don't know of an inexpensive way to do this, but I will tell you kind of one of the dirty little secrets of the LiveU, which is even though it's designed to bond many connections together, most of the time it's only using one.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would say if you have a good, and I don't know who's the best in Bakersfield, but if you have a good 3G connection, you're probably going to be fine. You don't need to bond them. Bonding them is for a really tough situation like when we go to CES, the big computer show, and everybody's using their cell phones and everybody's using the 3G, and then we bond them. And then it was really, I have to say, really challenging. You know what's going to change very soon, Colin? It's really good news is Verizon is moving to LTE. You're going to see 4G from Sprint in more and more cities. You're going to see faster, better connections soon. And when that happens, then I truly think that bonding won't be the issue. You'll be able to, the other thing that's happening is compression's getting better. I don't know. I'm trying to think of how much bandwidth you really need for a good, solid Ustream stream, and I would say 500 kilobits is enough. If you get a reliable 500 kilobits, now that's right at the edge of what 3G can do in most conditions.
And that's what we're getting. I mean, I went out there and tested with my AT&T about a week ago, and I got a pretty good connection from the exact spot we're going to broadcast from, and I recorded it, and it looks good. I mean, it came across decent.
Yeah.
I was thinking, man, we could do better, but always do better.
Yeah, I mean that's the problem. Is what are we comparing it to? Network television. It's not gonna look like that. In fact, it's amazing that we're able to stream live video from a remote location over the internet to the world.
It is. It's amazing.
It's mind-boggling. So I think people understand when they watch that it's not going to be perfect. They're going to get some buffering on their end. The other issue, sometimes people worry a little too much about what's going on at the broadcaster's end. A lot of times people watching don't, their bandwidth fluctuates and they'll have problems too. I mean, we stream our best quality stream. We use 1,000, we use a megabit a second, 1,000 kilobits a second. And that gives you a pretty good image, but I'm surprised there, given that most, broadband connections are, multi-megabit, even slow connections usually supposedly faster than that. A lot of people have trouble with a megabit.
Yeah, that's what we have here at the cafe.
So you have hardwire at the cafe, or you have Wi-Fi?
Yeah, we have hardwire at the cafe.
Okay, well that's pretty good. Yeah, if you can use hardwire to a good upstream. Remember, it's upstream that matters for you, not downstream. If you have a megabit upstream, which is quite a bit for upstream, you should be golden. Now, I wouldn't go all the way to a megabit. I'd do 750 kilobits or something like that. And don't forget to include audio and video. In fact, for you, because you're karaoke, the audio is probably more important than the video, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it is, and that comes across beautiful.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, you should watch the show Monday night,
What time Monday nights?
7:30 California time.
7:30, and the website is karaokekingshow.com.
Yeah.
And if you go there now, you can see some video, and then the live show. Normally it's Thursdays and Fridays, but you're doing a special show Monday night.
Oh yeah, best of the best at the fairgrounds. There's cash prizes. We got like almost 40,000 in prizes from sponsors and stuff.
Holy cow! You might make this a business after all, DJ Kyle.
Maybe. Maybe. Right now it's just a lot of fun, though.
That's really the best way to do something like that. Any kind of internet broadcasting. Do it for fun. Do it because you love it.
We do. We love it every week.
Because there's no guarantee you'll ever make a living at it. And then if you do, hey, gravy. It's golden.
Exactly.
And I have a feeling that people who start now, we're in the very earliest days. You're putting your flag in the ground for something. I mean, you keep going, keep at it. As long as you love it and you can afford it and you can do it, because you're establishing that you are the king of karaoke. And when the time comes that there's money to be made at this, who are they going to go to?
Exactly, but the king.
The king. There he is, the gadget guy, Dick D. Bartolo. He's the Gizwiz. Does a daily podcast for the TWiT network called The Daily Gizwiz, appropriately enough. Also, you may know the name because he is Mad Magazine's maddest writer and has been for decades. Hello there, Dick.
Leo, how you doing, pal?
Could not be better. I'm feeling fine. And
excellent.
Excellent. Fettle.
Okay.
So usually, Dick checks in here on a show and gives us a gadget. Do you have a gadget today, Dick?
I do, and you know, or you may not know, that this past week, General Electric made their final incandescent bulb in the U.S.
What?
They have, yes, exactly. Exactly. They have ceased making incandescent bulbs because now, like according to Consumer Reports, everybody they interviewed, about 82% of the people had bought compact fluorescent.
But I still have lots of incandescent light bulbs in my house.
Well, soon you can send them to me and I'll put them in the warehouse.
Really?
I'm sure warehouses are full of them and we'll still see them for a while, but they are
GE's got to be the biggest maker of light bulbs in the world, I would imagine.
I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure they are. So I thought we'd talk about the newest from, we both know those people, C. Crane.
Love C. Crane.
Right, and years ago, you introduced me to their first Geo bulb, which back then was $100.
Yeah, a little pricey for a light bulb.
Yes, the LED, and that very bulb, the Geo Bulb 2, has dropped to $39.
So this is not a fluorescent. This is not a compact.
No, this is an LED.
LED based
light bulb, with incredible life. The Geo 2 is guaranteed for 30,000 hours.
That's the advantage of LEDs, isn't it? That they just go and they go and they go. They
go.
don't.
And the newest one that they just came out with, the GeoBulb 3, which is $59.95, runs for 50,000 hours.
That's like 10 or 20 years.
Yeah, it's about 20 years. It could be the last light bulb many of us need to buy. Also, it's great if you have parents who, get up on ladders to try and replace light bulbs. You put a couple of these in out-of-the-way light fixtures, they'll never call you to come fix them. They will burn forever.
Yeah. Wow.
They use about 8 watts to generate 60. What is the equivalent of 60 watts?
So that's what's killing the incandescent light bulb is they just power hogs.
Absolutely. And
but I have to say I hate to say this, but I like the light from incandescent bulbs. It's a yellow, warm glow. Yes,
but now they have 3 different whites from Sea Crane.
So you can get a warmer bulb. You don't have to.
You can get a much warmer bulb.
Okay. That's the problem with compact fluorescence.
It was very interesting. I was talking to those people about, can you dim them? Because I didn't think you could. And they said they're working on a dimmable LED. But she said probably people will have to replace their dimmers. And I asked why. And you may know why. Dimmers may go down just to 1 watt. So to your eye, the light bulb's out. But the light bulb, the old incandescent light bulb, is still getting 1 to 3 watts of power. With an LED, it'll stay lit because wait, I'm still getting power. I'm getting tons of power.
And actually, it's kind of old-fashioned to think of light bulbs as should be warm, because really for humans, it's probably daylight is the best light bulb, and I think both compact flash and LEDs can give you a daylight temperature, right? Not the yellow glow that we're used to, which is very flattering, but instead of a nice daylight.
Once you pass 40, you want that flattering light.
Yeah. Yes, you do. My wife. No, never mind my wife. I want that flattering.
Well, yeah. Well, we went to that restaurant. You're the only person I ever had dinner with who brings their own light filters with them.
I've got it on right now. Yeah, it's very good.
Excuse me, I just have to put these on all your light bulbs, and then we'll order.
So, wow. So they've down now to $40 or $60, depending on how much life you want. And Sea Crane sells them. Do you think people are going to go skip CFLs and go right to LED?
You know what? I think what you should do is, if you're leery about it, is put them in, like outdoor fixtures where you really have some trouble getting there.
Right.
And you'll economize by not having to get up on ladders and jeopardize yourself changing light bulbs in out-of-the-way places.
Price is still going to be a problem because you can get compact flash. I remember they were very expensive when they first came out.
Leo, my first compact flash, I got through the electric company, Con Ed, was doing a special deal. I think it was 2 for $35.
Well, the
very
first. But now you can get it for like $1.
Yeah, $1 or $2.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. The LED, you talked about it probably 2 years ago. It went from about 120, dropped to 100, and now that particular bulb is $40. So it'll take a while, but LED is on its way.
SeaCrane.com. They're nice people. I like Sea Crane. That Bob Crane. I remember when he was so excited when he showed me that first LED bulb a few years ago.
They're great over there.
Dick DeBartolo hosts the GizWiz podcast at twit.tv/DGW for daily GizWiz. You can also visit his website where he links to lots of great gadgets and all his appearances. And you can play the What the Heck Is It contest for a chance to win an autographed copy of Mad Magazine. That's a collector's item. Well, it would be if Dick didn't give so many away.
That's true. I've just stopped giving
There's
away.
No scarcity, frankly.
No scarcity.
You got to work on that.
And you can follow me on Twitter, too, at /the GizWiz. Now I'm depressed.
Stop signing those Mad Magazine. Get your Mad Magazine at gizwiz.biz. Play the What the Heck Is It contest and follow him on Twitter at the GizWiz. Dick, we'll see you later.
I'll be here.
What can we talk about today? Well, everything. Facebook says they. Well, I don't know what they say. Are they doing a phone? Aren't they doing a phone? I don't understand. I'm very confused. The blog TechCrunch, this week said, "Oh yeah, Facebook's doing a phone." But whenever I read anything in TechCrunch, I go, "Oh yeah, well, I'm sure there's some evidence for that." But I mean, this is there's an interesting difference between the way old school journalism, like your local newspaper, reports a story, and a blog reports a story. In the old days, you probably you remember Woodward and Bernstein, the Watergate. What was the name of that movie all about Woodstein and the Watergate thing and all that? They had to have two sources for everything, or they couldn't publish it. And that makes sense, because if just one person says something, well, he might have an axe to grind. He may be making it up. You don't know how much he knows. But if two people say something, two kind of, in all the president's men, thank you, chat room, as always, they come through. If you got two sources for something, well, I probably have, but only one source for something, kind of weird. Kind of strange. Maybe it's a rumor, but it's not the truth. Now, blogs, you see, blogs is different. Modern day blogs are kind of like modern day software. In modern day software, like a website, you launch the site just right out the gate. You say, it used to be in the old days, you'd write and test something thoroughly before you release it. Same idea as like having two sources. You really want to make sure before it goes public that you got it, that you did it right, that it's down, it's really good. Modern day web apps, and this is considered a virtue, you just throw it out there. For the first Facebook, I'm sure Mark Zuckerberg just, throw it out there. See what happens. See if people are interested. See what they say. And then iterate is the word. Iterate. You fix it, in stages, because the software lets you do that. So people say, hey, I don't like that blue. Okay, we'll fix that. I can't figure out what that. Okay, we'll fix that. And it gets better and better. And the theory being the best way to make something better is to have public input. That makes sense. But it's also trickled down into how we get news these days. So a blog like TechCrunch, they get one tip, one flimsy little tip, and they go, yeah, we're running with it for a couple of reasons. One, well, because they're going to get page views, and they got a lot of page views this week. Facebook phone. But also because they figure we'll fix it later. If there's something wrong with it, we'll just fix it later. Well, if somebody says, no, that's not true, we'll issue a correct, because it's on the internet and it's easy to fix, it's easy to change. Now, the only reason I bring this up is so that we remember that we treat what we read on a blog as different from what we might read, say, in a newspaper. I don't know, TV news, I don't know where that comes in. That's not even, forget that. I don't know where on the spectrum that fits in at all. But if you read something in a blog, you can't necessarily assume that it's true. It could be that it was a rumor that the guy who wrote it said, well, and usually they'll say, and I think Mike did say, I'm hearing a rumor from good sources. It all makes sense. And then Facebook denies it. And now, see, this may be where they're going a little far. Facebook denies it, and then TechCrunch says, well, that's what Apple did and Google did when we said they were doing a phone, so it must be true. I don't think a denial proves it's true. I'm sorry. I have to draw the line there. A denial's just a denial. I don't know if it means it's true. Nevertheless, Bloomberg and others, Reuters, have picked up this story that Facebook's doing a phone. Now, why do I care? I don't care. Facebook does a phone, doesn't do a phone. It doesn't matter. That's not the point. My point is, when you read something in a blog, take it with a grain of salt. Think about it. Figure it out. Watch carefully, but don't treat it the same way you would something in a newspaper. Now, I know for a long time we thought, oh, in newspapers, well, they're, what was it the New York Times calls itself? The paper of record. Like, if it's in this newspaper, well, it's true. It's on the record. And I think we've learned, after a number of scandals and just kind of, we've kind of realized, well, maybe that's not true either. Maybe just because it's in the paper isn't true. So when I talk to my kids and I talk to school kids, I say, well, the most important thing you can learn today is critical thinking, is thinking for yourself, is reading something on a blog or even in a newspaper, on TV or on the radio, and say, does that make sense? that pass the programmers call it a sanity test, where you look at a program and you do a sanity test. You say, well, what happens if I throw it 0? What happens? Does it go? Is it crazy? Is that crazy? Does it pass the sniff test? Does it make any sense at all? And then I think this is a new skill, really, probably. And maybe our kids don't even need to be told this, do they? They grew up in this era. They don't. They know. Just because you read something in a blog doesn't mean it's true. iPhone 4 hits China. Massive crowds line up so they can get on Facebook. I don't know why. Apple started selling the iPhone in China, the world's largest cell phone market. There are nearly 1 billion users in China. When the iPhone came out last November in China, experts said, it's kind of a disappointment. Lines, no. People don't really care. After 4 days of sales, 5,000 sales. 5,000. Now, fast forward to yesterday. 200,000 pre-orders. When the door opens at Apple's new store in Beijing, 1,000 people in line. Computer World talked to Sun Jianquan, who said, it's like waiting in line to see a movie star. No phone can best the iPhone. Wow. Now, last year's iPhone didn't have Wi-Fi. It's pretty expensive, too. Last year, $1,000 converted. This year, 6,000 yuan. That's $900 without a contract. 5,000 yuan with a contract. That's about $754. Very expensive. Demand outstripped supply. According to the Wall Street Journal, the Chinese phone company reported more than 40,000 customers had purchased the iPhone and service plan before the supply ran out. It's kind of like here. I think you can now buy an iPhone in the States. Nevertheless, I think I've started to read, and I might agree that the iPhone 4 is the worst iPhone ever. All sorts of bugs and problems. We talked about antenna gate, the issues with the antenna. Those have not been fixed. People still are complaining about proximity issues. You know, you're supposed to put the phone, they call it the proximity sensor. It's very important. You wouldn't think so, but when you have a big sensor, touch screen on the front of a phone, when you put the phone up to your ear, it's got to turn that screen off. Otherwise, your ear is pushing buttons. And it was one of a number of reasons I stopped using the iPhone. Because every time I'd get on a call, it would mute the call or it would send dial tones down the line. It was driving people crazy. And I'm starting to see people say this is the worst phone ever, and the worst iPhone ever, and yet they can't make enough of them. They can't stop creating iPhones. They can't stop selling iPhones. People want them like crazy. It's interesting, isn't it? Eric Schmidt says, Leo, forget Apple, forget Facebook. We're not worried about them. Google, Eric Schmidt's the CEO of Google. He talked to the Wall Street Journal. He said, our biggest problem, the biggest challenge facing us today, Bing. Microsoft search engine, Bing. What? Bing. Bing, he says, Eric Schmidt, the CEO of Google, is a highly well-run, highly competitive search engine. It's too early to tell how big Facebook will be, how big of a competitor. Apple, he says, is the extreme expression of a closed system, but also a partner. But Bing is going right after our core business. Wow. You wouldn't have thought when Microsoft came out with that alternative search engine that it would be Google's biggest threat. 8888 Ask Leo, that's my phone number. We have a website, techguylabs.com. If you'd like to go there, I'd love to have you. That's where we put links to all the things I talk about, all the stories I've just mentioned. As I answer questions, we'll put links to the sites I talk about, things like that. James DeRuvo's there writing it all down. techguylabs.com. Phone number, 1-888-827-5536. You can Bing me. I'm Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Thank you. Ryan says, Tech Guy in the chat room. says, Check Guy Labs definitely looks dated. It is. I know. It's a wiki. You know, that thing is ancient. That's been going on since probably, 6 years since we started doing the show. And I made it a wiki because originally I thought, there's a term in the computer industry called crowdsourcing. Basically, it's a form of being cheap. Instead of hiring somebody to do a job, you get the crowd to do it. Very popular right now on the internet. Crowdsourcing. So I thought, I'll crowdsource the show notes. I don't have to write them, and I don't have to get anybody else. I don't have to pay anybody to do it. I'll just have the audience do it. So I made a wiki. You know what a wiki? A wiki's kind of cool. Wiki's a neat idea. Wikipedia is the best known wiki. That's a crowdsourced encyclopedia. I mean, that thing, millions of pages. It perhaps is the best collection of knowledge in the world. I know people put it down, but most of the time Wikipedia is just right on. But there is a problem with crowdsourcing, which Wikipedia has, and I really had, which is any idiot can put stuff in there. And with Wikipedia, you have enough people who care about it to really keep it clean and nice and working well. But my little Tech Guy Lab site, nobody was. It was just this. It was full of spam and bad people putting bad things, and so I said I gotta turn the wiki off. So I did, and now it's just but the wiki doesn't have a lot of fancy formatting, so it's not fancy. But the text is there. The information you need is there, and to me that it's functional, and that's the most important thing. You can go there, you can enter a term, you can find any information from any show. This is 704 shows in there. The audio and text and the show notes and everything. 88, that's techguylabs.com. Thank you, James, for keeping that up. And by the way, you'll find a link there to the chat room. I've mentioned the chat room a couple of times already. It's a great little place to go. It's where the kids go, and the grown-ups too, to wisecrack, to fool around, and have a good time. There are 763 people in there right now. We've got like 10 moderators. Dan's our lead moderator, but we got CWBP and Dustin and Hip and Houdini 7 and Icon and Inferno and Kevin H. and Life's a Zoo and Mick and Tech Zen Troubled. Some of these people in it, Warp Holy. I don't know who's that. I don't know who that is. They're in there, keeping it safe for your youngsters. Wonderful people. And so if you want to participate there, go to techguylabs.com, click the chat link. And I kind of think as the chat is my brain. You know, if I can't think of an answer, I don't know an answer. Boy, I look at the chat room and there's 700, 800 smart people in there. Well, okay, there's 600 smart people in there, 700 people in there, and it's called crowdsourcing. That's what it is. I've crowdsourced my brain. Hey, when you get to this age, it's the best you can do. Ron, San Lorenzo, California, first caller of the day. Hey, Ron, Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Thank you for taking my call. I've been trying to get through to you for quite some time, and I felt pretty lucky to get to you today.
Well, it's kind of like a lottery, isn't it?
It sure is. I never can get past the busy signal.
We have, we have about 1 million people listening, okay, at any one time. So let's 1 million people, let's say 1% try to call. Well, no, there's no phone system in the world that can handle thousands of calls coming in. So, often you don't even get a ring.
That's true, and I feel very fortunate to be talking with you now.
Well, I'm glad, Ron. I won't waste any more of your time. Let's get to work.
I have two questions. I hope we can get to both of them. The first one's more important. My wife is going to the Philippines, and she's going to be staying at a Marriott hotel in Manila.
Okay.
We want to figure out what's the most cost-effective way to be able to communicate. She wants to take my HP 4110 laptop. It's a 2-year-old machine that I use for my business. I do a little consulting, and we have an 8-year-old desktop computer here at home. We don't have any web access with our telephones. We're using just a straight telephone service for our cell phones. So my question for you is, what would your recommendation be as the best way to be able to stay in touch?
One word, very easy. It's free. It's called Skype, SKYPE.com. You put Skype. Now, I don't know. This 8-year-old computer might be, well, we'll see. You can put it on there anyway. I know the laptop will handle it. If you need some sort of audio, at least to make an audio call, if you have a camera, you can even make video calls to each other.
Don't have a camera.
Yeah. But Skype is just fantastic. The 8-year-old, the only thing, the 8-year-old computer might concern me a little bit. Skype runs fine on Windows XP. I presume it's Windows XP.
Yes, on the laptop.
Yeah.
Now, does this require
What's the
an
desktop?
Sorry?
What's the desktop running? XP?
I don't know, to be honest
Windows
with you.
98?
I got the thing in 2002.
Yes.
And it apparently has had updates that's come out from Microsoft such that there's a repair guy I've taken it to says that there's 3 complete versions of Windows on there. And I don't know where they came from because I don't know enough about trying to steal anything to be able to.
I'm gonna assume it's probably Windows XP, Service Pack 2 or Service Pack 3. Skype will run fine on that. You'll need a headset because you'll need some way to get audio into it. It's an old computer, but I'm telling you, free calls. You can talk all night if you want. Hang on, Ron. I know you had 2 questions. We'll get to you. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Ron is on the line. We're gonna get Scott Wilkinson in just a second. Scott is at Cedia, which is the big home theater installers show. And I know it doesn't seem like that's where you would announce a lot of products, but apparently they do. This is a big deal. So we'll get the latest home theater news from Scott Wilkinson. In fact, Scott, we're going to spend, if you can, a half an hour with you. Do you have time for that?
Yeah.
Okay. He's in the press room right now. Where is Cedia this year?
Atlanta, Georgia.
In Hotlanta.
Hotlanta, and man, it's been hot.
Yeah. They don't call it Hotlanta for nothing.
That's damn straight.
We'll talk to Scott in a second, but first let's finish up because Ron had 2 questions. So first of all, Ron, Skype will work even with an older machine. I'm a little concerned about the 8-year-old computer, but it should work. If it doesn't, she could put Skype on the laptop. As long as she has an internet connection in the Philippines, you can buy Skype out. When my daughter went to France for a year, I put Skype on her laptop, and I bought her for $99 unlimited calls for a year. To any phone, not just to a computer, but to any phone. So worst case, even if your 8-year-old computer can't handle it, she can take her laptop. I bet her laptop has a camera on it, doesn't it?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Oh, all right.
It's my laptop. I don't think there's a camera or a microphone on it.
Well, you're going to have to buy a microphone. I'll tell you what to get. But she can then not connect to the phone system in the Philippines, but literally just use the internet and call you, and it costs pennies. But if you buy the $99 thing, that's all it costs. She can call you and talk to you days and days.
What would be the best device, though, to use for that? Not so much the service.
The laptop.
Laptop, got it.
And
okay.
She'll need to buy a USB headset. The one I recommend these days is the Plantronics USB. It's called the 655. Now they make a Bluetooth. Now, I'm not talking about Bluetooth. I'm talking about USB. It's connected via the USB port to the laptop.
Right.
And it's so they call it the Audio 655 Stereo PC headset. It's got a mic and it's got a headset, and it's just exactly what she wants. And so she'll sound great. She'll sound wonderful. She can call the phone. If you can get Skype working on your desktop at home, then the calls are absolutely free because you're using the internet.
Right.
And you can talk again. You can talk for hours. Skype is a miracle. There are other, if you have Gmail, Google supports in the chat. It supports internet calls as well. There's lots of other ways to do it, but I'm a big fan of Skype. Skype has the best quality, the best usability. 500 million people now use Skype worldwide.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
I'll go to Best Buy or someplace like that to get it?
Best Buy will have them. Or you can go online, Amazon.com.
Well, we've only got about 4 days before we got to have.
Oh, all right, yeah. Well, go to Best Buy. If they don't have the Audio 655 from Plantronics, they will have the key is USB. You don't want an analog headset. You want a microphone and headphones that plug in via USB. It'll just sound better.
Terrific. On the second question, on my laptop or my desktop computer, it's had some servicing done on it because it's crashed a few times and I've had it fixed and this and that. There used to be, when I would go to a secure site, an icon of a closed padlock in the lower right-hand corner of the screen.
They don't do that anymore.
I haven't been able to get it for quite a while, so I haven't been using that to go to my bank statement because I'm afraid that it's not secure.
It's secure. If you have HTTPS:// as the URL, it's secure. They don't put the newer browsers, Internet Explorer 8 and 9, and Chrome and Firefox. I don't know which one you're using. They no longer use that padlock doohickey. They'll do other ways of indicating that it's secure, but they don't use the padlock, which is kind of a shame.
But it's HTTPS.
Yes, all the padlock meant is that you've got an HTTPS connection, a secure connection. And I'm sure your bank does. I wouldn't worry about it.
I want to thank you very much. I can die now. I've spoken to you not only once, but twice.
Please don't die, Ron. I can't afford to lose the listeners.
Okay, thank you, Ron. Thank you very
Ron.
much.
All the best to you. That's got to be tough, your wife going to the Philippines. But that's where, I'll tell you, when my daughter went to France, we were crying, and we were not going to see her for a year. She's in junior in high school she did this. So, boy, you better believe I put Skype and paid the $99 for the, unlimited calls. She could call cell phones. She could call anything from her Skype, from her laptop in France. And it worked. She did. She called us quite a bit. It was great. Scott Wilkinson is here. Scott, before we get to you, I do want to mention our friends at Nod 32 because I think Ron probably needs this advice. I know a lot of us do. Especially if you've got an older version of Windows, it's really important that you secure it. And that means, of course, installing all the patches that Microsoft gives you. But it also means putting the best little antivirus in the world on it. And that's Nod 32 from ESET. You don't have to just take my word for it. CNET gave it 5 out of 5 stars. They just reviewed antiviruses. The Virus Bulletin, Independent Virus Bulletin, said it hasn't missed a virus in 10 years in the wild. 10 years. It also catches viruses it doesn't know about with its advanced heuristics. This is great, but the best thing is it doesn't slow your system down. You could put an antivirus on your system that turns it into molasses, especially if you've got an 8-year-old machine. You cannot, I'm telling you, don't put Norton on there. Don't put these other guys. They'll slow it down. You need Nod 32. It is fast, lightweight, but it's just as it's more effective. It's the best. Get it free right now for 30 days, and you can see. Go to ESET.com/Leo. ESET.com/Leo. 30 days free of Nod 32. You can also call them if you prefer, 866-935-ESET. If you use Windows, you need Nod 32. Scott Wilkinson is here from CEDIA. What does CEDIA stand for? What is that?
It's the Custom Electronics Design and Installation Association.
Oh, please.
We just call it CEDIA.
CEDIA is easier, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's been 4 days of nonstop. You're exactly right what you said earlier, that tons of products get introduced here, particularly higher-end products, and particularly, even more than that, projectors. Well,
that's because you can't you don't do a projector yourself. That's where you get this installer.
Generally speaking, that's true. Let me show you. I'm up in the press room right now, and if I tilt
there's the show floor. Wow.
There's the show floor. We're up on the second floor, and right there.
So for people listening on the radio, which is all of you, we're seeing.
Can't really see.
It looks like one of the big, like Comdex or CES, one of the big trade shows. I mean, that's a huge show floor full of booths with products.
That's right. That's right.
Wow.
So I've been spending a lot of time looking at a lot of demos. Alice in Wonderland has been a big favorite demo here.
Is it really? Isn't that funny? Because it wasn't even 3D in the first place.
It wasn't. Actually, what I heard most recently was that the live action was not shot in 3D, but rather converted to 3D.
Right.
But the CGI, in fact, was created in 3D.
Ah, okay. Well, most of the
and then they
movies
melded them
CGI.
together pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway.
What have you seen? What do you like?
Well, again, like I said, the first 2 days were like only projectors, and the real big news here is 3D projectors. Last year we saw a bunch of 3D flat panels, and we're seeing a bunch of those now, but projectors have kind of lagged behind, but we really have seen a lot of them everywhere from $4,500 for the entry-level JVC 3D projector up to $80,000 for two Sim2 projectors that they already make. They just put them in a kind of a rack thing and stack them together and produce 3D that way. So it's a very wide range of products, and for the most part they look fantastic. I mean, most of what we're seeing is very sophisticated. The Sim2 in particular, with the $80,000 system, is the only one here using the technology called Dolby 3D, which is a passive system.
Which is good because the glasses are much cheaper, right?
And lighter weight. Exactly right. And the Dolby system is unique in that, unlike most passive systems, which require a special screen, a special silver screen to preserve the polarization of the light, Dolby 3D does not require this special screen. And the reason is that they separate the two eyes, the left eye and the right eye image, by using slightly different wavelengths of red, blue, and green. one for each eye. And then the filters that you wear in your passive glasses only let one set of RG&B through to one eye and the other set to the other eye. So they effectively separate the two images. And you don't need that special screen. With passive polarized systems, which is what you get mostly in the commercial theaters and in some cases here on the show floor, you have to have a special screen, which is okay, but it doesn't do 2D very well. So if you have one projector and you want to do both 3D and 2D, you need, ideally, two different screens. Now, Stewart's film screen, with the preeminent screen maker in our business, has introduced a solution to that problem, which I think they call the Daily Duo or Dual or something like that, where they have a fixed polarization-preserving silver screen sitting there on the wall, and then a retractable white screen that comes down in front of it when you want to watch 2D. So that's the best solution if you're going to go with polarized passive projection. But again, I mean, this show is all about high end, and we're talking pretty expensive stuff. That Sim 2 is $80,000.
Oh,
I mean,
my goodness. Oh.
You know, so the Runco has a $50,000 one.
Is there a reason that just besides drool factor that we should care about these? Is this kind of technology that we will see eventually at a lower price? Or
Absolutely. Well, again, JVC has 3 3D projectors here at the show. The least expensive one is $4,500, which is, you know, not that bad for a projector. And it does a great 2D image as well, and 3D looked phenomenal. The other big projector news I wanted to mention quickly here is Epson, which I've always recommended as a really, really excellent value. Their high-end projectors are in the $3,000 range. They don't do 3D, not yet anyway. But we saw the most recent flagship from Epson that they've just introduced, $3,100. Man, that looked good. Probably some of the best 2D imagery at the show.
Now, see, Epson is offering, and we've talked about it before, consumer-grade projectors at a very affordable price. So presumably they're going to migrate this stuff down to the consumer level, yeah?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. They already have.
I don't know if I want a well, how much is a 3D projector from Epson?
They don't have one yet.
They don't have one. Okay.
No.
I don't think I want a 3D projector.
Well, you in particular, you have said
no,
in the
it has
past,
nothing to do with my eyes. I see 3D. I went to Avatar. I see 3D. I don't like it.
Ah, okay.
Oh, no, I
what
can
don't
see
you like
it.
about it?
I don't want stuff coming out at me from the screen.
Okay, well, I want to talk about that.
All right, well, we will. We're talking to Scott Wilkinson, editor-in-chief of the Ultimate AV Magazine, ultimateavmag.com. More right after this. Stay right here. Are you coming around? Are you Mr. 3D now, all of a sudden?
I am when it comes to projection.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not a big fan of 3D on flat panels because the image is too small.
All right. Well, we got to talk.
And that's why I'm a bigger fan on projection because it's very large. I saw a projector here from LG, a 3D projector, which, while it looked kind of soft, it did not have a real super sharp definition. The motion in it was smoother than I've seen in any other case. It was simply more comfortable to watch. Right. I'd be curious to have you check that particular one out. If I get a chance to show it to you, I will, because that uses
I can see 3. You know, I thought I wouldn't be able to, and I went to see Avatar, and
it's
it worked.
re-release?
No, I saw it when it first came out, and
okay, in 3D,
it was fine.
and it worked for you.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
so
excellent.
I think maybe I don't know. Maybe if maybe my eyes. I don't know. If it's true that my eyes don't normally integrate, but if I relax and there's a 3D image on there, they'll integrate. I mean, I just don't think it adds to the picture. The movie, I think it's a gimmick.
Well,
I loved Alice in 2D.
And we've seen a lot of demos of Alice in 2D here, and it looks great.
Yeah.
So I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you. We've seen a lot of Avatar in 2D as well, and that looks really good too. In my opinion, when filmmakers shoot 3D with care, and in particular don't bring a lot of stuff in front of the screen plane, but rather use the depth behind the screen plane more, that's when 3D becomes more effective.
I agree with you. And then don't try to do a gimmick.
Exactly. I hate those gimmicks.
We'll talk on the air. Let's say I don't want to. I want because I have the argument.
Okay, good. One thing I want to make sure.
Ken Lubert's from New York. Come on down. But the studio's full today.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I would love to
Ken,
point out at some point here in the next segment, if you have an opportunity, I'm taking all my own photos here at the show, and I'm actually pretty proud of them. So if you go to ultimateavmag.com, I'd love for you to take a look at them real quick. They're all on the home page. So, and I know you talked to who is it, Chris Marquardt?
Chris Marquardt, yeah,
photo guy. And I have to say, I'm actually pretty proud of what I'm getting on the show floor.
Scott, that's great. You're a one-man coverage crew. Yeah, I like these angles that you're using. Those are great. That looks great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How about that? The Okinoki
record cleaning machine. Oh, good. As soon as I get some records. The Okinoki. The Wolf DCC 100 FD DLP projector. Look at the size of that thing. Oh, it's only 10 grand. That's a deal.
From Wolf, it's an incredible deal.
That's a cheapie.
They have stuff in the 5 and 6 figures, so this is their entry-level model.
Single chip DLP, conventional lamp. Oh, it uses a color wheel. Huh.
Yeah, use it, but it looks great. My colleague Tom. Hey, Tom, did you go to Wolf? Did you see rainbows on the single chip cheapie?
Is Tom a rainbow guy?
He's very sensitive to rainbows. Yeah, Tom Norton. He's going to be on my podcast tomorrow. There was Velodyne's booth. Their motto was, "We kill the competition."
You know what I bought for Henry because he really wanted a stereo, and I wanted to really, because he loves music, and I really wanted to encourage that. Audio Engine, which are they're powered speakers. They're really good sounding. The Audio Engine 5.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
And then they have a subwoofer, which was only $350, 8-inch subwoofer that I mean literally vibrates the house. And
we've been hearing a lot of those.
And he wanted the bass. He said, I really I want to hear. I want my heart to pound.
All the kids want that bass.
They want that bass, and he loves it. Somebody said, iDoc Mark says, you don't like 3D because California liberals just can't see anything from 2 different points of view.
Oh, man.
Here we go. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. That's my number. Scott Wilkinson is here. We're going to get back to the phones in just a second, but this is a rare opportunity to see what the latest stuff in home theater is, because Scott, who's the editor-in-chief of the Ultimate AV magazine, is taking us to CEDIA, which is the big home theater installation show in Atlanta going on right now. In fact, he's on the show floor right now.
In fact, it's only on for another 10 minutes, and they're going to kick me out of the press room.
Oh, well, we better hurry up. And we were just talking about 3D, and apparently there's a number. Now, remember, this is for high-end home theater. Yep. There are a number of 3D projectors. You maybe need a special screen. Some of them don't use the active glasses. They use the cheap Dolby passive 3D glasses, passive glasses. But it's my opinion that 3D is a gimmick and hype, and I don't like it, so I don't know why. Again, are 3D TVs selling at all?
Yes, I believe 3D TVs are selling quite well.
I guess I'm wrong then.
And my colleague Mike Heiss here is nodding at me. He agrees. It is selling. And
it seems like such a gimmick to me. I just don't get it.
It can be. It can look like a big gimmick. And you and I were talking off the air about it, and my opinion about that is it depends on how the filmmaker makes the 3D movie. If they do a lot of stuff coming out at you, out of the screen and poking you in the eye, yes, absolutely, it's a gimmick. I thought Despicable Me had a fair amount of that in it, and I wasn't real happy about that. The 3D I really like, and what I think James Cameron did with Avatar, is when they take the depth behind the screen plane and make more use of that, and don't bring a lot of stuff way out forward. Because putting stuff way out forward, it's much more difficult to render clearly. The objects tend to break up and tend to smear as they move around. Stuff behind the screen stays a lot more solid, and it gives you that real sense of depth that actually can be very pleasant to watch. I like it a lot. So as long as the filmmaker's doing a good job, then I think 3D has something going for it.
It's possible. I've never seen a good 3D movie.
You didn't like Avatar?
I like the movie. I think it was better in 2D than 3D.
Interesting. Okay, even that.
Yeah, and it's my opinion that any 3D is gimmicky because it's not how the eye does 3D. You know, the eye only really uses stereoscopic vision for about 15 feet. After that, it's all done in the brain, you know, saying, oh, there's parallax here. I could tell that's farther, that's closer. It's all done in the brain. And the brain does the same exact excellent job with 4K video or high-quality video that it would do with a 2D image. So you get 3D with a high-quality image because your brain does it. And so when filmmakers use, I don't, you know, this is a crazy academic argument. I probably shouldn't even bring it up, but it's just my opinion that that it's always gimmicky because it isn't how a human being perceives 3D at all.
Well, and that's one reason why I prefer 3D on a very large screen, which is why I prefer projected 3D over flat panel 3D. Yeah. Because flat panel 3D, you're looking at this 3D simulated 3D image, but around it, your field of vision still has objects in your room that are, quote, real 3D, that is, in fact, really in the environment. And so what you really need to do if you want a convincing 3D simulation is to have a really big image that fills your field of view, which is where projectors come in, which is why I'm so excited about it here at the show. Mike Heiss, my colleague, also told me to make sure to remember that 3D gaming is a very big deal too. Right. And when you're playing a game, and we've seen some demos of that. I'm not a gamer. I actually kind of get sick when I play games, so I don't. But there is a lot of really good 3D imagery in playing games, and if the kids don't get an epileptic fit, then they have a lot of fun.
Right. iDoc Mark in our chat room says, like all California liberals, I don't like 3D because I can't see things from two different points of view. He might be right.
Well, I'm a California liberal too, and I actually like 3D now, so it's not a tried and true thing.
What else is there that you see that you find interesting? By the way, if you go to ultimateavmag.com, Scott's website, where he's the editor-in-chief, he's got very extensive coverage right now of this show and lots of beautiful pictures, which Scott himself took. You're a good photographer. That's great.
Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to make sure everybody knew that to go check out my photos, if nothing else.
They're very arty.
I spend a lot of time on them. That's exactly
They're very beautiful. What camera are you using?
The Canon XTI.
Beautiful. And there's, of course, a lot of high-end stuff. I mean, you know, here's a Wolf projector that is only $10,000.
Only 10. That's their low-end projector. That's right. Yeah, Velodyne subwoofers. We've seen quite a few subwoofers. Wisdom Audio has a monster, a $10,000 monster. I haven't put it up yet. That's it stands about 5 feet tall.
Here's an interesting device. The Dream Vision projector. It's LCOS, not DLP.
Correct.
I thought LCOS was dead. People are still doing this.
JVC. That Dream Vision is in fact a JVC repackaged and.
Does it look pretty? LCOS is an alternative to, say, LCD. Does it look pretty good?
It does. It does. That projector and the JVCs are among the best.
Interesting.
The absolute best you can get. Great black levels, great color, great detail.
So something to look for, maybe. Do they make LCOS direct view TVs anymore, or is that gone?
No, that's gone.
That is gone.
That was only in rear projectors.
Okay.
But yeah, there are 3 different types of projection technology. DLP, which we're seeing a lot of. LCOS, of which there are 2 varieties. Sony's SXRD, they had a 3D projector here as well, using SXRD. And DILA, which is JVC's version of LCOS. And then finally you have LCD, what's called LCD transmissive, in which the light passes through an LCD panel on its way to the lens and the screen. Now, Epson actually introduced a variation, a new technology, which looks like it's going to be very exciting. They call liquid crystal on quartz. Okay, so it's reflective like LCOS, which is liquid crystal on silicon. And I pointed out in my blog that quartz is actually silicon dioxide, chemically speaking, so it's not necessarily all that different from liquid crystal on silicon. Regardless, they want to make a big distinction about it, so okay. And the prototype that we saw looked really, really good. It was not in 3D. It'll be 3D compatible later with a firmware update. But it's going to again be another revolution in low-cost, high-quality projectors, which Epson is famous for and really good at.
Scott's website is the Ultimate AV Magazine, ultimateavmag.com. All his coverage of CEDIA is there. He also writes for Home Theater Mag at hometheatermag.com and joins us every week.
And there's a few days left to get in on the Lord of the Rings sweepstakes, so go check it out.
And you'll be in studio with us in a couple of weeks. Looking forward to it. Thank you, Scott.
Me too.